This video is by Subplays. It's an amazing video. Do not forget to check it out.
Never get so busy making a living that you forget to make a life. Stop waiting for things to happen. Go out and make them happen. These were exactly the quotes that were running through my mind in early September of last year. See, I had been sitting on ideas for video games.
And it's right. Don't get too extracted by trying to make money. So don't make your dream, your purpose is just to get money, and forget the most important thing as a living being, which is living.
Freshman year of college, but I simply had no time between a part-time job and full-time classes. This past September marks the 5-month anniversary.
I was there when I was in college, when I was studying so hard. It was very difficult to maintain studying and going to another state just to study, then get back home and then design game. It gets complicated and very messy, to be honest.
Of my college graduation. Never get so busy making a living that you forget to make a life. Stop waiting for things to happen. Go out and make them happen. How long would I wait to pursue the things that would truly give me fulfillment? On September 20th, 2023, I started to put pen on paper to build my first video game design document.
That's a good thing. When you want to start a game and you start with a GDD, this means that you understand the industry a bit more. Many people start making the game before even making a game design document or a story for the game, which makes it a bit difficult to design the game in the future. You will try putting things around, and these things accumulated would take like a half a year or a year just to figure things out and make your GDD inside your mind. Sometimes you will forget the initial idea and stuff like that. So making a GDD is a very initial and important point, even if you are making the simplest projects. Always make a plan.
Learning game development.
Okay, so this is like 6 months, so it's a lot of time, but for a beginner it's not. To me, my first 6 months barely made me make simple systems, even yet I had a very strong background in coding because, getting used to the interface and the component stuff and the different engine complications. So 6 months is not a very big time. So if you was a beginner, if you are not a beginner, 6 months, you could do a very good vertical slice with it, for example, and show it to publishers.
Yeah, so the first week mostly consisted of writing down what I wanted the game to be. This was important for a few reasons. Firstly, I have goldfish brain, and writing my ideas down helps me retain information.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I can't even remember what I drank 3 hours ago. Okay, now I remember. Okay.
Secondly, my concept of the game was very shallow at that point, and writing it down would allow me to identify some of the flaws of my design, and buff ideas down helps me retain information. Secondly, my concept of the game was very shallow at that point, and writing it down would allow me to identify some of the flaws of my design, and buff out some of the rough edges. I also added a journaling section
and it's okay. By the way, these times you have many templates for GDD. It's not like the 90s or the early 2000s. When you go and search a GDD template, you will get thousands and maybe even more of templates in online. So just download one and put the info in your mind and start developing if you are not really much familiar with designing a GDD.
The bottom, so that I could keep track of my milestones every week. I knew that I wanted to work with Godot, since Unity just self-destructed a few weeks prior.
Yeah, that did not happen. See, big companies always make a mess because hiring a bad CEO, then getting back. To me, I used Unity for forever for my main projects. I also, to be honest, used Unreal and Godot. Unreal was very impressively good with 3D games and 3D cinematics. It was, oh my god, it was super amazing. Just putting a cube in Unreal Engine makes it a super good looking cube because of the lighting and the render pipelines that they have. But to be honest, it's a bit more complicated, and I do love using Unreal Engine only for cinematography when I used to work in cinema. The thing is, do you see the style of Elden Ring? Many people criticized it does not have a very realistic graphics. Like it's not like hyper realistic, which is the intention that I really like more than hyper realism. I like when it's a good graphics, but it's not hyper realistic. The textures in Elden Ring of the monsters, for example, they are not hyper realistic, but they are in a constant perfect style. The same, for example, for the hair in Elden Ring. You know, this stuff. Unreal Engine makes everything look too good, in my opinion. Of course, if you can modify that and build even your own render pipeline. But yeah, Unity always give me the right thing to work with. So to be honest, I always with Unity, and I'm not afraid. Their stakeholders, usually make one of the best decisions. They replace the CEO. I think this year, and things going well for Unity. If it was a very drastic, stupid decision, just like more than last time, or just like last time, I might change. Godot is good, to be honest, but I cannot do my 3D projects there. I have tons and tons of systems and assets that I've built in Unity throughout my years, so yeah, changing might be a bit difficult for some people, especially people like me. But yeah, you can't start with Godot, but it would be way more difficult in 3D games. It's open source, but it's still it was developed with less years than Unreal and Unity. That's what makes Unreal and Unity, with their big budgets, of course, way better engines for development.
And Unreal costs money. I watched a few tutorials on YouTube to get a grasp of the layout.
And no, I don't think Unreal costs money. Unreal Engine is free. It's just like if you hit $1 million milestone, they start taking money from you, and if you like had $1 million and you can't pay a seat of Unreal Engine, like what the fuck are you doing? So yeah, no, it's like free.
Out of Godot and familiarize myself with the engine's quirks. I built a basic test level consisting of some blocks and a plain floor. I watched more tutorials, specifically on how to create an FPS camera and player movement, and here are the results. Check it out.
These are a decent first trial FPS movement.
I've got first-person control.
But like he needs to do stuff. I don't know. Maybe he will add them in the future, like a head bop, or it's like a head getting like this, and more perfect tiltation. For example, it will make the movement sound more natural and more good for like players. But don't excessively doing it only if you were like a horror or a weird type game, because yeah, people and gamers in general want to see good features, but they don't want it to disrupt their gameplay. So make it cool without making the whole game about that, rather than like other thing that the player really interested in.
Controls, first-person controls. I can't do this while. Week 2 took a different route as I began my 3D modeling career. I, like with Godot...
This is something many people don't know. It's okay if your first games were not perfect in like 3D or coding. Game design is just like cinematography or cinema, like Hollywood on steroids. Like you need a director, you need a lighting director, you need a story writer, a story director, you need a story advisor. This is, and we did not even include the coding and the 3D, which is a 3D is a major, which has many subdivisions. The one that works on the UVs is very different than the one that works on, like for example, the texture painting and substance painter, stuff like that, or the one who works on sculpting, or the one that does the retopology and stuff like that. It's super complicated stuff when it comes, of course, to AAA games. So yeah, it's okay if you first started and your like art sucked or like coding sucked. You're just one person, so it's super okay. The only important thing is passion, gaining experience, and doing something fun for you and the community you are trying to target.
Learned the layout of Blender and the bare essentials with a few smart people on YouTube. By the way, I will link a playlist of most of the tutorials I watched or thought were interesting if you guys wanted to check them out. With the help from YouTube people, I built a little guy. This little guy consisted of
So yeah, this is very helpful.
a mesh and a skeleton. You can combine those two things with the help of a weight painting. This tells the bones which part of the mesh to control. In week 3, I put that little guy in the game.
Yeah, this is right, you can do weight painting, but this is for handmade animation. Sometimes people do merge procedural animation or iKinematics and inverse kinematics with hand-drawn animation to get more perfect results. It depends really on the game and the situation.
I spent most of my time working on and finishing my first
These are good models. They do need texturing and UVs. I might work more on the hard surface modeling. If I was modeling like a gun, I would do study the hard surface modeling, then go right back to model, because it's good. He understand the basics and how the gun is really made. It's just like he do not understand the tool right now, but it's super okay with indie development.
gun model. If you couldn't tell by now, we're making an FPS game. Also, I started some initial work on the view model camera. In week 4, I edited the little guy's mesh, because his head and hands were weird.
Yeah.
Also, I had to redo his hand bones. Also, I had to redo his weight painting. And that wraps up my first month of game development. I feel like it had a good balance of learning stuff, implementing new features, and creating new assets. The second month...
See, it's small steps, but these small steps in the end will accumulate and make him a good game base. So I think the first 6 months he's trying to make the FPS system. See, if you were working on a commercial game and you were a small team, it's okay. Just go and buy a FPS framework. There's many perfect ones. But if you were not a small game, maybe AAA game, you should make your own FPS with your own documentation for your new entry people that might come to your company. But if you were wanting to like making a game to learn, just like this guy, you should also do it by yourself, but do not need to make it easily modified or like heavy on comments and documentation for new people. You just trying to understand how everything works and keep it. Whenever you want to make another FPS game, grab the code, put it again and work. Do not recode everything every time. You won't learn anything. You will just waste your time. You might modify it, but do not rewrite it one time and another, one time and another. It's not the best thing to do.
Followed a theme of making shit in Blender and then importing it into Godot, with occasional features being added to the game here and there. But first I had to fix my character because this is horrendous. While doing this,
See, the transferring from one like a 3D engine to a game engine is seriously fucked up in Unity, in Unreal, in fucking everything. I cannot understand it. When I work on my game Robotic Hell, I made my own 3D exporting format just because I was so pissed with FBX and I was so pissed with most of the 3D exporting format. I went and I modeled my own exporting format. So yeah, FBX was way better, by the way. So yeah, but yeah, many models in my game I still use my own exporting format. So yeah, I can understand how frustrating it is.
I learned that square faces are better for soft body models because they're stretchy,
Yeah, that's
and triangles are better for more rigid models simply because they're more efficient for the computer to render or something.
Yeah,
So I remade my character's joints.
Topology. It's basically the science of triangles.
And then I didn't like the result, so I remade them again, and I think the result speaks for itself.
Yeah, that's good. You might also use like I guess in Blender there is like an add-on called Rigify. Wow, super wholesome add-on. You need to try it.
Week 6 was focused on animation. I learned how to add bones to the gun. Yes, guns have bones.
Yeah, of course. Many people don't know that guns do have bones in Blender when you model them.
Grow up. I made animations for drawing and firing.
This is unhostile.
I think they look good enough for my first try.
You might in the future need multiple more animations. It's like 10 to 8 animations at least.
Back to Godot, I worked on procedural animation, specifically weapons.
Okay, this is a bit advanced. Whoa.
This way, based off mouse movement. I combined this with the animations I made in Blender. I think it looks really good. In week 7, I made my first reload animation. After exporting this animation, I realized I probably imported the blend models incorrectly, since this was happening.
Yeah, this is, I told you, it always happens. You import it wrongly, or it sucks, or the materials are not right. It always happens.
Okay, all I needed to do was not import the inverse kinetics bones when exporting to Godot, and now it works fine. But Godot is still interpolating when I don't want it to. Interpolating being the process of adding frames in between the hand-keyed ones. This makes it so that the animation can scale indefinitely depending on whatever frame rate you're playing on. This is
very important stuff. These are the stuff that usually you need to keep an eye for them, which are the accessibility when you are doing your game to multiple devices or to multiple players. This is literally one of the things that takes 30% of the development time. Like when you have a commercial game, you need to make it multilingual, colorblind accessible, inverted controls, because some people play with inverted controls. I don't understand that, super weird. But yeah, you need to do all of this for multiple communities. So yeah, you need to keep eye on like even aspect ratios, for example, for multiple monitors. So yeah, you need to keep an eye for accessibility.
It's great for most cases, but my reload animation pulls a magic trick and swaps the position of the mags within the span of 2 frames. It's supposed to be hidden, but interpolation ruins the trick. This is fine though, because Godot has the option to turn off interpolation per
Okay, I've never noticed that when I was using Godot
animation. This is great. I can turn off interpolation for the animations in which I use magic tricks and keep it on for the rest. That would be the case, but my version of Godot is bugged, so that button just simply doesn't exist on my version. I searched everywhere on the internet for a solution to this, and I even put a discussion post.
It's open source and new, as I told you. I saw another guy, he was making a very good, I guess his name was Blagros. I want to watch his video. When I was watching one of his devlog and he said something, I was like, what the fuck? For 3D games or something like that, the shader compilation, there's no shader compilation for Godot, like a good one. So it was amazing for me, like, whoa, how could you make your game? So shader compilation is very important in 3D games. So yeah, it's a new engine. It's a great one, amazing one, but it needs more work.
Post on Godot's Discord, but I couldn't find any help, unfortunately. Also in week 7, I began work on projectiles. They're going really slow for demonstration purposes. Also, you could spam left click and fire a bunch of them at once, so I'll have to fix that. But not before I added a spark effect for when a bullet hits something. This only ever worked 5% of the time, but it looks really cool when it did happen. Also, when you pause the game, your character now holsters their weapon and then draws it when the game is unpaused. At around the midway point of the week, I realized that I would have to have a few more weapons in the game in order to add more mechanics, like weapon swapping, weapon inventories, etc. Of course, I could just put in placeholder models and work on the mechanics first, like a normal person. So I took a—
But it sucks. Yeah, it sucks. Putting good placeholder, you cannot see the progress really. So I just do it when I work for a AAA company. When I work alone, I just put them.
Break from Godot and began work on the model for a new weapon, the AKM.
Yeah, this is good, but the topology here is a bit bad. Works fine.
Okay, that's enough. Back to Godot. I made it so that you can't spam projectiles anymore. Much better. Okay, back to Blender. I worked on the animation for the Glock 17 for when you have no ammo, like the animations that play when you try to reload.
I would advise not doing this. You should do your 3D and then do your implementation on coding and fix off if you have like something weird in your 3D. Because going back and off might do you some file management issues.
Fire and draw your weapon. I spent the entirety of week 9 working on the AKM model. Initially I was going to use the Bakelite magazine, like the green one, but I scrapped that halfway through and chose a stamped metal magazine instead. Okay, tangent time. Why the f is it so hard to find references and measurements for some of these weapons? Like the
You're searching wrong. You're searching wrong. I always get this thing asked by people I work with. When I worked with story directors, I noticed how weird they are. They do not just go and search AK-47 or something like that. They go and read a full article on how do weapon company productions produce this device or this thing, and he start to look at blueprints and stuff like that online. He try to even go and try the thing himself in real life. Then he write every detail in his story or in his world building on or weapon building stuff, depending on whatever game you are doing and specification you need to, because the story is big and you need bits of it very specified in your game. So he works on that. So you are he's probably just wrote like AK-47 design and did not like look more into info of that
online and cross-reference there to find out certain dimensions, or like I just have to eyeball it, which is fine, I guess. Anyways, tangent over. Initially, in order to work on game development, I stopped making videos.
No one will pause the game and then go, the diameter of the gun barrel is little by 0.2 centimeter. Fuck off, let's just play the game.
For YouTube entirely. It was during week 10 that I realized that I had missed making those videos. At this point, I decided to split my free time in half, alternating whether I worked on videos.
Don't burn out yourself. I do burn out myself daily, maybe, but don't do it. Super unhealthy, super unproductive, super stupid. I do it, you should not do it, and do stuff you like. Yeah, maybe I will do that tomorrow.
Or game development every other week. So during week 10, I worked on videos. In week 11, I finished my YouTube video and I finished my AKM model. From the beginning of the project, I've been striving for a low poly art style, but I don't know, I get distracted in modeling every single detail of a weapon, so I hope that my art style doesn't...
See, low poly FPS, many people does that, but low poly could go, but don't make the weapons too realistic. You can make them like paint sprayers or stuff like that, because low poly is usually cute or stuff or actiony, anime style maybe sometimes, anime style low poly, but like for such weapons even mid poly might go with that. But yeah, low poly and realistic weaponry could be unmatched style, but you can do it. I don't know, many people do very weird and very good art styles.
Derail in the future. Here it is really big. Looks kinda off though. Oh, it's just because some of the faces are inverted. You can fix it by clicking some buttons in Blender and then re-exporting. So that's 2 gun models done. Lastly is the M16. Also, I made a base pose for the AKM, so there's my guy holding it. Week 12 mostly consisted of me working on videos. The rest of the time this week I spent working on my M16 model. This was the point where I feel like I was starting to plateau with my project. I knew that these models had to get done, but I was just not interested at all in putting in the hours to finish them. What I was looking forward to was adding more features to the game, which wouldn't come by for a long time. I spent the entirety of my dev time in week 13 modeling the M16. And I'd say we're about 90% there.
It's a good one, it's a good one. You just need to I think improve the readability on the cylinders, long cylinders, just for texturings and UV later on. Oh, this is weird.
I finally finished my M16 model, which just has basic iron sights right now. There's a plan for weapon attachments down the line, but we'll cross that road when we get there. Going into week 20, I had all the weapons that I needed to start working on more features.
About iron sight, I had a friend that got so pissed off me because when I designed a weapon, one of the attachments were like a red dot. He was a military guy, so he said, well, the military dot is too easy to use in video games, and he was like pissed because apparently the red dot on like armory is like hard to use and it's actually harder than the iron sights, and I had to fix it then just because he said it and he was so angry about it. I did not want to like bargain with him about it. But yeah, it's apparently the red dot is harder and iron sight is better. It's a side story, but I like this story a lot. It was funny when see him so angry about that. Every military guy is so obsessed with weapons for some reason. Well, most of the people that I met.
Features. One of those features being the weapons manager.
Especially retired one, by the way.
For some reason I forgot to record anything this week, but I basically just worked on the framework for the weapons manager and fixed a few bugs. One of them being that all my blend files disappeared randomly. I think when I updated my Godot to version 4.2, the Blender application reference was removed.
Maybe.
I don't know what it was. I fixed it eventually. With week 21, we were finally in the last month of the project. It was at this point I realized I had spent 1 month making a Strand type game, 2 months making cute models, and 2 months of not even working on the project. Your player now has a weapon inventory. I'm reusing the Glock animations for the AK right now. Don't worry about it. Check it out, you actually have a HUD. That stands for heads up display, just in case you didn't know. Reloading now does something instead of just looking cool. You have to reload when your ammo's empty. It also accounts for one in the chamber. This is similar to Battlefield and some Milsim games. Week 22 I just worked on some videos. In week 23 I replaced the physics-based bullets with hitscan. This is because the physics engine couldn't handle how fast and small my projectiles were.
It could work on Unreal and Unity because it has a better physics engine for this stuff. But just do a hitscan. It's way easier for indie games.
Also why the spark effects weren't working correctly. Hitscan I think will be better for our project, and I'll make some tweaks and modifications to make it look like it actually is a physical bullet. In order to test out my new hitscan, I added some new objects to shoot at, destructible barrels. These come in red and blue. Bullets now physically affect the objects they hit, and that's based off weapon caliber. So the AK will hit way harder than the pistol will. The red barrels are full of non-explodable oil and are heavy, while the blue ones are empty and therefore lighter. These barrels have health and get deleted if shot too much. I updated the weapon sway so that it is unique to each weapon. The sway amount is based on how heavy each weapon.
By the way, everywhere, make it destructible. Every single person I met, every single person, a gamer I met, want to go to the game and destroy something. So yeah, do it.
Okay, let me explain real quick how most hitscan guns work. Most games that use hitscan make the hitscan come from the center of your screen, and then make it look like the bullets are coming out of the gun on screen. Some games even make an extra raycast from the gun to the end point of the hitscan to see if anything would block the bullet. So if your gun's in front of a wall, it'll shoot the wall instead of whatever you're looking at. But it's just not real enough. You know what's real? The bullets coming out of the actual gun.
Yeah, but this would make many problems though.
So I actually spent a long time figuring this out, because this shit is confusing and scary. But now the hitscan comes out of the gun. This will be super convenient too, because recoil and sway on the weapon will directly translate to the accuracy of the gun. I also improved the weapon sway so it looks better now. I also added weapon rotation based inversely on weapon length. So the shorter the gun, the more the rotation. I also added walk sway. Also added some placeholder falling sway and then landing impact. Also some rudimentary procedural recoil. I made the hard decision to scrap my hand animated firing animations, but I think that the procedural ones have more potential in the long run, and also fix the fire rate problem that previously plagued the weapon. Also the empty holster and draw animations have finally been implemented. I animated them along with the initial Glock animations, but I guess I just forgot to put them in. Also sprint animations have been added, but they're glitchy right now and I'll have to fix them in the next video.
It's okay if it was all glitchy. You have to do a list for bugs. There would be probably 200 to 300 bugs, but when you fix them, you will feel like you are free again to not be enslaved for the bugs list.
I love working on this project. I documented this process in order to give myself some accountability in regards to making stable progress every month, but I mean, by no means was I trying to rush this. I'm glad I took the time to learn things, to understand them. If it takes me a month to make a model in Blender, so be it, as long as I'm learning and making progress in a skill. I know my end result doesn't look like other.
Don't rush it. 6 months, 1 year, it's just a little time. People spend decades on this, on like game development. So do not worry about a month or two. It's just one bite at a time. Try doing it slowly and constantly. Well, I don't know how to pronounce that right. So yeah, try do it slowly. Don't rush yourself. Don't burn out yourself. Just try to do a small thing every day.
their dev videos where they recreate Minecraft in 24 hours, but I'm proud of the work I've put in. I think this video might serve as a lesson to those who are interested in doing something, a hobby, a project, or whatever. It doesn't have to be a game. That if you're progressing slower than others, making something that doesn't quite live up to your expectations, it's okay, because you're learning, and you're growing as a person. I fully intend to keep working on this project. I can't say how long, but I'd like to say until it's finished. Who knows when that'll be. Thank you for watching to the end of the video, and I'll catch you later.
Amazing video, and again guys, check his channel, SoPlays. Amazing video, and I hope I see his progress. I will check his channel if he made more progress on the game to see. Hopefully it will be a very good commercial game someday, and it's become a very good success in his career.